This is the third week of this series, and in week 1, we took a look at the concept of mutual submission. I know, I hate that topic as well. Found in Ephesians 5:21, and in the beginning of relationships, submitting or prioritizing the other person comes pretty naturally. In order to make love last, couples must learn to do intentionally, but what once came naturally. Yeah, perfect. Here, you can come over here and stand with me and leave this over here. Have a seat, guys. Alright, so that was week 1. Week 2, we looked at the concept of believing the best, which was found in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 7. People that engage in lasting love choose to believe the best about people rather than assume the worst. And then that brings us to week 3, where I get to interview some really great couples in our congregation. But first, Scott left us instructions that we were to introduce ourselves. This is my other half, Matt. Here, I don't know if you want to talk in the mic, it's right here.
I talk loud enough, you do.
And we got married back in June, but we had been dating 7 years.
The last 2 months so far.
It's 3 months. It's 3 months. So he's going to run slides for us while we do this. We only have a couple questions, but one of the things when Matt and I started coming back to church is we actually were planning to elope, like Vegas-style wedding. And as we got involved in the church, it became really important to us to get married by our pastor in our church. And prioritizing our marriage over our wedding. And so I'm really interested to hear from you guys. I grew up here and watching these couples for, I'm not going to estimate how long you guys have been married, but I feel really far away. Yeah, I'm just going to come over here and hang out. There we go. This will be better. So I guess I kind of introduced myself. Do you guys want to start? Here, let's see. I think I have a prompt. All right, so share how you met and how long you've been together, and obviously introduce yourselves.
Turn the mic on.
Oh, here we go. Everyone can just talk on the side of my face. I got the previous year's microphone today.
Okay, we really have known each other forever.
First, what are your names? Now I know I'm over here.
I'm Marilyn, this is Don Sandberg. We've been married 60 years this summer.
Don, you seem unimpressed.
Some people this might sound weird or sick. We've known each other since we're 6 months old. We grew up on the east side of Indianapolis, Sherman Drive and Bradley and Denny. She lived on Bradley, I lived on Denny. Our parents both went to the same church in Fountain Square. And her grandparents and my grandparents, and this is one of the churches that formed this church. This was Second Evangelical Reformed or Second United Church of Christ, and the other was Trinity. And she doesn't remember this, but she asked me a few years ago, sometime when we could all get together, we have a lot of history of how this church was put together and what happened over the years. It might be interesting for some of you folks to hear about that. But anyhow.
Someone take note. Whoa.
Take that thing away from her.
Yeah.
It's attached to the side of my head. Under all my hair. I don't know how to fix it. Someone take note that we need to do that.
Anyhow, we went to grade school together. Kindergarten, you know, we had a little mat rolled up and everything else. I tried to get close to her. Anyhow, grade school together, and then because we moved, my parents moved, we went to different high schools, but I kept my eye on her. And we went to the same confirmation class. Mary Alice Day belongs here and still comes. We were all in the same confirmation class way back in like 1951 or 2, something like that. Yeah, something like that. One thing my father taught me, you talk about love, this is what we're talking about today. My father taught me years ago, and this is something I want you to think about, and the word is think. Every time you want to do something, or you think you want to do something, think about it. This comes to play in our relationship. She graduated from Butler in School of Education, I was got her master's from IU, and I went to the Cal College up there in Lafayette called Purdue. And I made an obligation, and I thought about this in high school, that I want to go to Purdue and get my commission in the Army. Military is very important to me. So I thought about it. And I thought then, I was hoping she would be my wife someday. But I thought, how would that impact her? Because there's several bets in here I know. You think, and you think, that word comes up all the time. Am I coming back? What's going to happen? But anyhow, we both graduated. I did go in the Army. We got married just before that. So she must have thought, I have not asked her this in 60 years, believe it or not. But she must have thought, am I going to get married now before he goes to the Army? Because we know what the military is about. Might not come back. But she went ahead and said, yeah, let's get married. And we did talk about it, didn't we? No. We don't talk about a lot of things. And everything was just fine. We did have 3 boys. The oldest one lives in Danville. He's a custom home builder. And by the way, he was the Builder of the Year, the 9-county Blueberry Crow left. Lives in Danville, Indiana. Greg, as you might know, up in Mill here. I think he's chairman of the governor's board, or what do you call it?
President of the governing board.
Yeah, whatever it's called, anyhow. And he lives down Greenwood. One's a houseboat, so you rarely see him here. And then the other was standing back here is Steve, who's the fish fry expert. But, you know, we make decisions before they showed up and after they showed up. And we think about what we do, and I think that's what held us together for, I mean, you talk about centuries.
Sorry, I didn't put that language together.
Together.
Yeah, combined, you guys have.
He's in the 50.
Actually, Chuck, you want to introduce yourself, and then I've got a couple questions.
Yeah, I'm Chuck Jordan, and my wife Elaine is not here. She's, for those who might not know Elaine, she's the one with the funny looking nose. That's because she's had 10 surgeries on her nose, and had surgery again this past Friday, which is why she's not here with us today. But she gave me...
She sent you with some instructions.
She is the doctor in our relationship.
I don't know anything about that.
And that's why I became a preacher. I had 15 to 20 minutes on me.
I feel like I'm going to have to edit a lot of this video.
She says, the more I was with Chuck, I realized that not only was I falling in love with him, but that I was becoming a better person. After all, why would you want to continue dating someone if you weren't happier, more fulfilled, and inspired by his or her actions and beliefs?
How long have you guys been married?
Good comment. We've been married 49 years, 2 months, and 25 days. Because Elaine is such a good person. And the first time I saw Elaine I was in seminary. It's my second year of seminary, right at the beginning of the year. And she came to seminary for 1 year. And I remember turning to my roommate and said, this was back in 1965, so please forgive me when I say, I turned to my roommate and I said, I finally got a good looking broad around here. And then I had to compete with 2 or 3 other guys for her attention. But I won out. When we decided we were going to marry, we received counsel from one of our seminary professors, and Elaine says it was evident that Chuck was the dominant one in our relationship, and the professor was concerned about Elaine standing up for herself, and we had some rules of arguing that he gave us, because he noted that I had 5 siblings that I grew up with, and I was used to fighting with them and bringing things together then. Elaine had only 1 sister, so she didn't know much about fighting. And the professor was worried that she might not be able to stand up for herself. And I can remember the time when we were having an argument about something, and who knows what it was about. It might be whether I liked the cream cheese and blueberry pie that she made for my birthday, and I hate cream cheese. It took me 3 years to tell her that. But she says, and this is a quote, I held my ground, and he swooped me up in his arms, swung me around, and said, you did it. You stood up to me.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do, actually. I was so proud of her that she took that step, and she's been a strong part of our relationship ever since then.
All right, so the very first question I have for you guys, so couples that make love last learn to do intentionally what once came naturally. What have you done intentionally throughout your marriage that has helped you stay in love?
Do what she says.
Is the green light on it?
Yes, green lights.
Okay. Yeah, just look.
Okay. Yes, you have to do what each other wants. You have to be able to bend and accommodate their feelings as well as your own. But you need to stand up for yourself, as Chuck is saying you learn to do.
Yeah, and back to the story that you're talking about going into the Army and how Don, you might not have talked about it, but you thought about Marilyn, like how that would affect her. I feel like, early on that you do that a lot easier. I don't know. I have to
Well, it was just, I guess, what I wanted to do, actually, because we had planned to get married and, talked about it and so forth, and decided right after college was over. And Don actually had 1 more semester to go when we got married. In fact, I graduated from Butler on Monday. My mother, who was teaching school, had her last day of school on Friday, and we got married on Saturday. And moved to Purdue, lived in married student housing there, and I taught school there. And then he was sent to the Army, and as soon as basic was over, I followed him to Fairfax, Virginia, and stayed there for just 6 months. Came back, and he did, I don't know what it's called. He was in the reserves, that's what I'm trying to say. He was in the reserves, so then there was very little time apart for us as we continued our marriage.
You got something from Elaine over there?
Yes, I do. With my simple wisdom, I want to leave you with these words, she says. Honor your vows. Remember those vows. Remember why it is you got married. That comes in very handy when you're having an argument. You remember what brought you together and the promises that you made to each other. The second thing she says is communicate, communicate, communicate. Now, communication has to be practiced. It just doesn't always come easily. And to listen with sensitivity comes even harder sometimes. Listening beyond the words to find out what those words are pointing to. It's so, so important. And you can't get into that if you listen once in a while. And she says that accept that you're going to change. I remember a couple in one of my churches who wrote their own vows, and they wrote in there to be sensitive to all the unnecessary changes they have to make in life. I said, don't you mean the necessary changes? No, we mean the unnecessary things, the little things that become pet peeves that are really irritations that sort of jab at you and make you not pleased with your
I don't
partner.
have any of those.
I'm sure that's true.
I'm not at all.
I'm sure that's true. and that's the way it's-
Yeah.
Should have stayed mad.
There are little things that you really dig at about marriage. And you let those things become big things, then you got some problems. So, talk them out, listen to each other, pray for each other, comfort each other, and know what it means to make up with one another. Admitting sometimes that you're the one who's wrong, and that's where I usually am. This is another, in your faith community, find ways to nurture yourselves along with serving. Because research shows if you do that, you'll be happier in life. And that doesn't mean that you neglect your family or fun, but you'll be a stronger neighbor, and that's guaranteed. And my wife says it's guaranteed, and it is.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I can find when I'm doing my devotionals and I'm spending time in prayer, and when I'm spending time at church, I show up better for Matt, for sure. Not as naturally grumpy or aggravating. That's good advice from Elaine. So I have another question. Couples that make love last choose to believe the best about each other rather than assume the worst. What are your partner's best traits? When is a time that you chose to believe the best rather than assume the worst? Best traits, and then time that you assume the best instead of assuming the worst.
I don't think that we've ever had a problem with assuming the best about each other. We've always been geared in that direction rather than tearing each other down. We don't look for imperfections in each other. We know they're there. But those aren't the things that govern our relationship. Our being proud of each other, seeing each other as worthy children of God, seeing Elaine as, she's such a compassionate, caring person. She just loves all people. And that dominates her personality, I think.
And what's not to like about that?
Yeah, right. That's good. I admire her. She's much more caring than I am. I tend to get impatient and let my Irish temper out at times.
I also know nothing about that.
But I really do admire Elaine for, and for her perseverance. You know, this is the 10th or 11th surgery on her nose. And in all this time, year and a half, that she's been going through surgeries, double mastectomy, took her whole nose off because of cancer and so forth, and they're rebuilding is what they're doing. In all this, there's half a day was she down. She's just a very, very positive kind of person.
Did she write anything about your best traits on that paper?
No, she's still trying to figure that out.
Okay. She left an open space there, though, I see.
She said I'm a good listener.
Oh. Donna Marilyn?
You can't talk. No time? I think Don and I both like to do projects and so forth, and he is always very willing to say, well, I can fix that. And he does. And it works out well for a lot of people we know. It works out well for Faith Church because he does a lot of repair work here.
It did.
It did. Okay, it did. The last project must have just finished just. But we care for each other. We care for the people around us and like to help them learn how to deal with things for themselves.
Yeah, servant leadership.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Servant leadership, she said.
Oh, okay.
There's-
This is pretty deep for a demo engineer, you know?
It's good ones for you.
Huh?
Sorry.
Pardon me?
Nothing?
I was gonna say something nice about you, Joe.
She's the one that said that.
I don't know, how can you say what you care about somebody like her? Everything she does is positive. I can't say more. I want to go back to the start. If you think about things, and I think she thinks about things before she does something, as she acts. She's very caring about other people. I can't say any more. Now, I gotta say something about something else. About 8 years ago, she had a knee replaced. And it's 5:30 in the morning.
She knows what you're about to tell the story.
You want that? Okay. That's what we usually fight. We're at Community North. My 3 boys are there. And I'm worried. I'm worried about her having a knee replaced. You know, it's major surgery. I've had 9 surgery, I think. Nothing bothers me more than this. This guy lives at Bluff Road and the interstate. It's 5:30 in the morning. I believe we did not have a permanent pastor here at the time. I think Chuck was filling in and Don Crispin was filling in, kind of 2 at one time. This guy shows up at 5:30 in the morning. That's what love is to me, outside of your work. I will never forget that. He shows up, and Chuck, you don't say a word about it. But that's the way this guy's put together. And the whole family, really appreciate this. So, that's Chuck. Now I can tell you some bad, no,
All right, so, do you have anything to add, Chuck? No, go
Are
ahead.
you getting the final comments?
Yeah, I am. I'm supposed to ask each of you if you have any final words of wisdom when it comes to making love last. Let me guess, what you have?
No, this is something that Ruth Bader Ginsburg said in her book, My Own Words. She says that her mother-in-law gave her this advice on her wedding day. Quote, in every good marriage, it helps sometimes to be a little deaf. She went on to say, when a thoughtless or unkind word is spoken, best just tune out.
Yeah.
Reacting in anger or annoyance will not advance one's ability to persuade.
I can't pass that up.
I was
Do you realize President Lincoln in 1862 was accused of inappropriate action, actions with Ruth Bader Ginsburg?
I feel like we've gotten off track.
She seemed that.
Do you have any final words, Marilyn?
Not a true fact.
I bought this book, and it's called Till Death Do Us Part, and it is, it's written by a couple, Mike and Patty Paschal. I don't know how to exactly say their last name, but they were doing rounds of premarital counseling with couples that they were marrying, and Matt and I went through premarital counseling before we got married with Scott. But they started to realize that young people were not understanding the vows that they were taking till death do us apart. And so what this couple did is they went and they interviewed widowers about their marriages. And so I don't have any like really great takeaways. I had to read it in really small bits and pieces because it's extremely emotional to read about someone who had lived, their vows till death do us part. But it did help me recognize that the people in our church and the people in our lives that live out their vows right in front of us are such a blessing. So I just wanted to thank you guys for sharing a relatively private part of your life, but that it's been such a great example to me and other people